Hi, I'm Peter Rose, founder of Longwood Currency Trading. In this video, I thought I'd discuss Forex trading skill versus luck. I've had some comments in the past from folks that are involved in the Forex market, maybe under a year of trading, 6 months of trading, and they're going, I don't get it. I can't figure this shit out. Somebody must be really lucky in order to do this, or they got to be way more skillful than I have the ability to achieve, because I don't get it. And the conclusion there is either somebody's got a ton more skill than you do and you don't comprehend that, it's just voodoo, or they're just lucky. And how do you beat luck? Look, to me, anyway, luck results from working consistently at something that develops skill in implementing that thing. So is there luck in Forex trading? Yes, there is. But the luck comes from having the skill that you develop by working, well, let's just call it working for now. As to what that work is, we'll define that later perhaps. So there's no luck. You're either going to be willing to do the work necessary to study the trading process and then correspondingly what the Forex market consists of, so that you understand how to apply the principles of trading into the Forex market. If you are going to trade options or futures or old tires or real estate or whatever, you'd have to take the concepts of trading and apply those into those markets. You don't just, I spent 40 years in real estate, retired a millionaire because of that process. And when I got into real estate, I didn't get into real estate right away. I had a karate student who was a real estate broker and an investor. We went out after class a few times. I had a couple of beers. We talked about real estate. I said, "Yeah, I'd really like to learn about this stuff. I don't know anything about it." So I went down to his office, and the owner of the agency, who owned, 12 other businesses at the time, said, "We're going to have to give you a 1099. We see you in here all the time." And I was learning what this, and not so much the process of what a real estate broker does, but how a real estate broker looks at property, and how a real estate investor looks at property, because he was both. And in fact, he sold me my first property. But it wasn't until I had understood what trading in general was all about. If I wouldn't have done that, then I would have been very limited in the success, I think, that I had in real estate. I read a lot of books. I talked with this guy. In other words, I did this consistently. And the owner of that company says, "We're going to have to give you a W-2 or 1099 or something, because you're here all the time." When I started investing in stocks, which I didn't do very big because I was putting all my money into real estate. That's why my 401k is small, and my real estate thing was really big, because that's where I made my focus. But I did want to learn about stocks and options and all that stuff. And I spent 4 years trading options. But I understood trading because I had got into real estate, and I studied the stock market, and I understood how the principles of trading would be applied to those things. I didn't really have an interest in stocks because there are many reasons why I'm not interested in stocks. I'm interested in the stock market as a financial platform that is so pervasive is a pedestrian term to apply to it, but it's so broad-based within our economy. It is our economy, and so I'm interested in the economics of that sort of thing, and so I've learned about stocks. I couldn't write computer programming simulations. I graduated with a bachelor's in physics and ultimately became a software engineer. I did did software programming for 33 years. I had a career in software engineering. So I understood programming and all that other sort of stuff. So I was writing programs not against the stock market, because that's silly. But options, I thought, well, I'll do some programming there. But when I started to get into the equations of how you price options and stuff, I went, there's a problem here. We're not going to do that. So I shifted my attention to commodities. And again, I'm not telling you the stuff as to what I did, but to show you that as you move forward through life and you bump into things that you have an interest in, that interest is only going to be, you're only going to get lucky at it unless you've gone back and built a foundation of understanding what work you need to do in order to understand how all this shit goes together. So that it isn't luck when you come out at the other end, it's skill developed through the consistent work that you do in studying life and the process of how things work. As a physicist, just a bachelor's degree, but as a physicist, that's what we're taught how to do, to investigate how the world works so that we understand then how the individual things work. And Lao Tzu, the Chinese philosopher, said that to know oneself is to know the 10,000 things. And at that point, 10,000 represented everything that there was in nature. So what Lao Tzu was saying was that if you understand yourself, you can understand everything. And so my process of stepping into the martial arts, although I stepped in there because I was a small guy and I was picked on my whole life, I got in there to develop confidence in myself and found an art form that taught me that I needed to eliminate the fears that I have in myself first before I'm going to be able to eliminate the fears of doing anything else. And that's why I've done so many different things, because I'm not afraid to try, because I already have a jump on it. I already understand what I need to do in order to do that particular thing and how hard I'm going to have to work in order to get good at it. So I've had to very carefully pick the things that I really wanted to focus on and to get good enough to put up a fight, I guess, with. When I work with a student who's taking a course or doing consulting with me, I want to know about you. How old are you? What's your educational background? What do you do for work? What floats your boat? What are you interested in? How much time a day do you have to apply to study something? What else have you studied and learned that you're good at? How do you know how to relate the goodness, the skill that you have in something to the skill that you have in something else? Do you understand the ties between the two? Because that determines the pathway through the coursework that we're going to have to take. Some folks I'll have to spend more time with setting that base foundation because you don't have that. If you don't have that base foundation, then it's just information that you're getting from another source. Oh, here's a PDF file, and here's Peter Rose, giving you 2 or 3 hours of my time, or 10 hours of my time, or whatever it is that you sign up for, and it's just noise, because you're not able to relate the stuff together. So you can go out and take somebody's $2,000 FOREX, how to trade FOREX, and they're going to teach you what a pip is and how to size your bank and how to follow trend lines and what a Bollinger Band is, and who the shit cares, because that has nothing to do with trading. So all you're going to learn when you do that stuff is learning these individual things. How do you beat that? Well, you have to learn how to trade. And learning how to trade is based on you as a person, not me. I'm not going to teach you me and then teach you how to trade currencies on top of me. I have to find out who you are so that you enjoy the process of trading. Because if you don't enjoy it, if you don't have a passion for it, you're not going to be very good at it. So in life, we have to find the things that we're really interested in. Are you really interested in trading currencies? Or are you just saying, oh, I can get into currency trading cheap, I got a prop fund or whatever it is that you crazy shit that you think that you're going to do in order to get into it. And that's the only reason you're there, is to make money. Do you play poker to make money? No, you have an interest in playing the game and how you interact with the other players and what the odds and the percentages are. Do you sail a boat because if you win the regatta, you're going to win some money and the accolades of your friends? No, you like to sail. That's what's true in everything in life, right? I mean, the things that we have passion about, we can become good at. So I have conversations with a lot of people that don't have any passions in life and are only interested in what's the secret sauce and how do I replace my job income on $1,000 bank at 500 to 1. A lot of times I'll get onto a conference call with someone who's interested in finding out what I do for my coursework and stuff, and I'll just say, man, I just don't think I can help you out. You can probably learn it, but I'm not going to be able to affect you because my belief system is totally different than what your belief system is in learning process. And learning how to trade is learning principles and then applying those principles in a process in order to achieve a result. And that result is not replacing your job income. It's simply to become consistent and make $5 a day on a $1,000 account. And as soon as you can do that, you can make $500 a day. And then you can make $5,000 a day, just depending on the size of the account that you have, and not levered up 2 or 500 to 1. That comes later. But in the beginning, you have to be reasonable. When I was a kid growing up in Chicago, I started learning how to sail. We had a little penguin class dinghy that we would sail. And I learned how to sail. I was about 8, 10 years old, something like that. And we sailed inside the breakwater until we developed enough skill, because my dad was learning to sail. Well, he knew how to sail a little bit before that. But we were learning together and having a good time. But we never went outside the breakwater because we were having a good time sailing inside the breakwater in a little 12.5-foot boat. If it would have been a 125-foot boat, that probably wouldn't have been as much fun poking around inside the breakwater. But a 12.5-foot boat or a 24-foot boat or something like that, that was nice to sail around inside the breakwater. I enjoyed that. And so at some point, we got sailing on larger boats. And then we would go outside the breakwater. We'd take our little penguin out to the mouth of the breakwater, and we'd scoot out there, and the waves would go from, 2 or 3 inch waves inside the breakwater to maybe 4 or 5 inches outside the breakwater. And when you're in a 12.5-foot boat, you better know what the hell you're doing. So you don't want to go out. First of all, you don't want to go out in the sailboat unless you're really passionate about that, because you're going to flip that thing over and you're going to drown. And you definitely don't want to go outside the breakwater unless you're passionate about it and you've worked long enough at the skill so that you're not lucky when you're outside the breakwater that you'll break your mast or tip over. But it's the skill that you've developed by the preparatory work that you do. Now, I know. These guys are trying to tell you that you're going to be able to replace your job income and all this other kind of stuff. It takes time to do that. It doesn't take time to learn how to do it, though. And that's the problem with most of the education that you're meeting and everything that you are looking at doing. Well, what are you going to do? You're going to sign up for somebody's 1-year membership program and pay them monthly to join a Discord group or whatever. How long does it take to learn how to do something? That's different than how long it takes to get good at it, and different than how long it takes to get really good at it so that you could replace your income, for example. To learn the skills, my fast track program for somebody who has 6 months to a year of trading experience in a live account with at least $1,000 account, making 50 to 100 trades, that's the experience that you need to have in order to benefit from the stuff that I do. I'll teach a beginner, but it's a whole different deal. And that's most people who don't have that experience in trading don't want to hear what I have to say, and they want to argue with me. And because I've been in karate and martial arts for a long time, I say, fuck you, I'm done. I'm sorry, I don't have my time to waste on you who wants to argue with me about what you need to do. I can take you in a fast track program if you've got some basic skill, and in 6 weeks, you know all the skills that you need in order to make $100,000 a year. So we need to gradually build you up so that you can make enough money that you say, wow, my boss isn't going to give me an increase like that. Look, if you're making $40,000 a year, let's say you're making $60,000 a year. If you're making $40,000 a year, you probably can't afford to trade currencies anyway. That's why you're interested in trading a $1,000 account at 500 to 1, because you don't have any money. You want to be a contractor to build a house, but you don't have any tools, and so nobody's going to hire you to build the house. That's just the cost of doing business. You have to have money to make money. That's the fact of it. And so if you're making $60,000 a year, you've got some money left over, you're going to be able to invest $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 into your trading, just like you take your money and you put it in the stock market, and you put $20,000 or $30,000 or $50,000 or $200,000 into the stock market. And that money grows for you, and over the long run, 20 or 40 years, you're gonna grab out probably 8% in a stock market or an index fund or something like that. Well, when you trade currencies, if you know what you're doing, you can make 8% a month, 4% a month. That's pretty good. That's 48% a year on your money if you can make 4%, right? So in making the money is a function, the amount of money is a function of how much money you have. But it doesn't make any difference about making job replacement income of $60,000. What's important is that you know the skills that allow you to make a 40% or whatever return on your money in a basic structure, so that if you get through that fast track program and you'd like to really learn how to do the sophisticated things of trading and how you can take whatever percentage return against your risk you've been able to develop consistently over that 6-week period of time or 10-week period of time. Yeah, the course runs 6 weeks. I'm going to work with you for the 6-week period. And then if you want to work after that, fine, we can continue to do that. But the 6 weeks is a really short period of time to learn stuff that you should have learned 10 years ago about you and how you look at a market and how you learn how to trade for yourself to develop that consistency. So we've got, in 6 months, maybe we've been able to do, 6 weeks, sorry, not 6 months. In 6 weeks, if you're day trading, you can make a couple of trades a day, you're making 10 trades a week. You've got 60 to 100 data points that you can say, on average, I've made X amount of money based on my risk, and so that's my expectation. So if your expectation and you're confident in that, because what I teach is based on how a physicist learns about the world and how the mathematician solves the problems of the world, that's the confidence that you have. You learn in mathematics 2 + 2 is equal to 4. There's no question about that. That's what happens. I got 2 things here and I got 2 things here. I got 4 things. And so that's the way that my course is structured. If you've got this and you've got this, that results in this. It's not fuzzy logic. It's you have this and you have this and you have that. That's why it makes it easy for you to learn this stuff, because it's easy stuff to learn. And it gives you the confidence that you're going to be able to achieve the results that are laid out, that I lay out for you in the plan. And if you don't achieve those results, we know because we know how we built that framework for you. I'm not giving you a framework. We're developing that framework as we go together, so you understand it. What good does it do for you if you bring your car to me each time and I have to fill the gas tank up for you? Why don't we learn how to do that together, to fill the gas tank up together, so that then you can fill the gas tank up? You don't need me. So in 6 weeks, I'm preparing you not only to have the skills necessary to replace your job income or whatever, but also that you don't need me. You don't need a Discord group. You don't need somebody to hold your hand for a year. You've got it. And you have the confidence based on you've been working consistently and very hard during that period of time to develop the skills. And that makes you lucky. So then everybody says, oh, geez, 6 weeks, you think you're going to be able to replace your job income? Yeah, you will. If you had enough money in your bank to be proportionate to the money that you're making for the $1,000 that we work with during that 6-week period of time, and then we jump to a $10,000 account so that you can make sure that going from 1,000 to a 10,000 doesn't disrupt your bowels and you have stupid shit that you do. Because once you can trade that $10,000 account, you can trade a $100,000 account. As long as you have your emotions in gear, because the math of the trading remains the same. If you follow the rules, you'll be okay. Right? And so if you're going to be moving from 1,000 and then a $10,000 account into a $30,000 trading account or something like that at $30 a pip, and we're just talking about 10 to 1 leverage here. You get $30,000 account, you trade 3 lots. That's it. Oh, but Peter, you can see these guys trading at 500 to 1. They're trading 15 lots. I don't know what to tell you. You're wired up too high, and it's going to go against you. You will be unlucky in doing that. But the folks that have a good solid base behind them and have come through and developed this thing, together, they're unafraid of putting larger amounts of money at risk because they know in the long run where they should come out. It's like the stock market. I just talked about the stock market or index funds. Over the long run, over 20 or 30 years, you'll come out about 8%. Why only 8%? Because, well, I'm doing this video in early April of 2025. We just had a 5,000 point drop in the Dow Jones average because of economic conditions around the world and the United States putting tariffs on everybody and all that kind of crap. The stock market just shit. And it went down 5,000 points in 2 days, I think. And everybody's panicking. Oh, my retirement account is wiped out and I got to sell out everything I got to do. And everybody just goes, yeah. I had one of my karate students call me. He's been with me about 45 years. And he says, well, Master, he says, I guess I'm just going to hold on. I'm not going to do anything. And I said, that's right. Don't do anything. I said, what you may want to do is you may want to start buying because at some point it's going to come back. It's like a rubber band that you stretch. It's going to come back. So yesterday, the stock market was up 3,900 points or something like that, almost 4,000 points in one day. One day. Everybody is flapping around. I say that because every now and then, every 3 or 4 years, you get a recession or you get a blip or something happens, and the markets will go down, and then they'll go back up, and then they'll go down. When you are watching this stuff on a daily basis, you can't see that over the long run, you're going to get 8%. But if you look at the long run and you say, oh, if I just put a little bit of money in every month, you realize that if you invest $5 a day, every day, in 40 years or so, you'll have almost $2 million, $1.6 million, I think, $5 a day. Not $50 at the start of this month and $50 at the start of the next month. $5 a day, every day. That's taking advantage of the compounding and smoothing out those high rises and the lows. That gives you confidence. So that's if you're studying how to do currencies, that's what you need to learn in order to have the confidence that when you start investing larger sums of money to replace your job income, you're not doing that fearfully. So many folks I talk to, they think they have this stuff. Oh, I got this system where I got a Bollinger Band confirming the RSI, and when the short MA crosses whatever the shit that it is that they're doing, and I'm going to do that. Oh, why are you contacting me? You've got it. Go do that. And then, 6 months or a year later, I'll get an email from somebody and they go, well, I don't know whether you remember me or not. I don't, but I contacted you and I thought this was going to work and I've lost $30,000 and what do I do now? I don't know. Instead of listening to stupid shit, why don't you step back and look at the reality of the market that you're trying to solve and figure out some rules. And let's work together on that. Let's try to fix that. So in Forex trading, there's no difference between skill versus luck. It's just the consistency of the work that you do that determines the luck that you will have based on the skill that you've developed by doing that work. Peter Rose, Longwood Currency Trading. Have a great day and have a great trading day.